Hey, welcome everybody to Game Time with Doc and Lurch. We're here every Tuesday from 8 p.m. to 10 p.m. Central Standard Time, and we're just getting ready for the show here. I'm bringing up my TV monitor, my Twitch monitor on my cell phone real quick, and then we'll do a sound check. Stream manager, all right. And there's the phone. Now let's bring up my stream manager on the web here. Let's see. And check 1 2, check 1 2. And check 1 2, check 1 2. And say something, Lurch. 1 2, check 1 2.
Yo, hill.
Say something, Lurch. 1 2, check 1 2.
Meow. Yo, hill.
Say something, Lurch. There we go. All right. Did somebody do a meow?
Yeah, that was me.
Oh, okay. I heard a meow somewhere. I was like, okay.
The cat isn't nearby to meow for me, so.
Yeah. Anyway, welcome to Game Time with Doc and Lurch. We're here and we talk about anything and everything having to do with the great nerdosphere out there. There's lots that nerds are into, and we like to cover a little bit of everything. Just real quick, who we are. We're part of Eclectic Endeavors, a group here in Springfield, Missouri that puts on the Gaming Arts Media Entertainment Expo and the Picnic at the End of the Universe. We're part of the Springfield Regional Art Council, so we're a nonprofit 501c3. All of our fundraising actually goes to, putting on our events, and anything over and above that actually goes to furthering the educational side of these nerdy hobbies, be it backing after school clubs, or we've done scholarships to nerdy art type degree programs, things like that. We are going into our very last year of the Gaming Arts Media Entertainment Expo this year. COVID hit us pretty bad, plus the whole general downtrend in convention attendance that was starting right before COVID hit has made it to where we're pretty much going to call it a day after this one, which this will be game number 12. We had a 2-year gap between 11 and 12, so this would be game 14. But if we count the 2 years we didn't do it. So this will be game 12, so we've done a round dozen. So we're, as you can see on the screen, we've got the dates for that. It's October 14th, 15th, and 16th. $10 will get you in for the entire weekend. So we've dropped the price, made it easier to do since, we're basically closing up shop after this. We're really just trying to break it as close to even as possible on everything as we can. I am the director of panels as well as cross promotions. Don't do a lot of cross promotions now since it's going to be our last year. And Lurch is co-chair as well as director of electronic gaming. So he runs the console area. Has a huge selection of consoles for you to come check out, and a library of games that just does not stop. So come out if you want to try out some of the old consoles, new consoles. He's got a couple of VR units he'll have set up. He'll have some old consoles and old console clones, and everything from PlayStation, Xbox, Nintendo, you name it. He's got at least some representatives of every one of the big console designers, and
yeah,
you can check those out with titles for everything. So it's a lot of fun. We'll play Dungeons and Dragons, Magic the Gathering, Cards Against Humanity, always a big game there. In fact, I'm looking forward to a last epic Cards Against Humanity's game this year. I think we have to finish it out with something epic, a really epic one. Because Cards Against Humanity is our game, it's so irreverent but so fun. Anyway, we're going to jump into the show this week, starting as usual with Lurch, and Lurch has let's see here. Let me bring up. No, that one's actually my. Actually, I'm going to start it this week. It was actually last week we talked about a bundle that you could get to help the people in the Ukraine. Well, I bought that bundle, but as I was exploring with that bundle, another bundle came to my eye, and I thought it should be focused on here too. And this is a tabletop role playing games bundle for trans rights in Texas. Basically, transgender rights are it's going to be we're more accepting of more and more people of different ethnicities, cultures, genders, and there's still some states and areas out there that are just a little slow to pick these up. So one of the causes that's out there right now is they're trying to help be very forward thinking with the trans rights in the state of Texas, which is one of the slower states to adopt some of these more accepting belief structures. And so if you're like me and into tabletop role-playing games, this is a great bundle to find. They are at 77% of their goal, which is 420,000. They've made $326,205.26 so far, with a top contributor of $1,000. And what it is you can buy the whole bundle for $5. There's 19 days, 6 hours, and 51 minutes left in the bundles sell. And you come in and it's got a whole bunch of like small market tabletop role-playing games and tabletop role-playing game splat material. You know, like there. If I've looked through there, there's some like city generators and NPC generators and stuff like that. Small games that can simulate all kinds of different role-playing game paradigms for you. You know, like White Wedding. Of course, a white is a type of undead, so it's a nice pun on White Wedding, the song. Um, yeah, exactly. And I just wanted to point this out real quick. Didn't want to spend a whole lot of time on it, but I think that it's important as people in our community that are wanting to spread acceptance throughout the world that we actively go out and do those things that can help with that, and that includes backing projects like this. It only costs you $5, and even if you don't back it, if you spread the word about it, and somebody, you spread the word, and 5 people see your spreading of the word, and they back it, that's $25 more towards the goal. And that's the thing. You don't always have to back these projects in order to make them happen. Sometimes you just got to get the word out about them, and people on your feed who are better able to back the project. Because there's so many projects out there, it's hard to back them all. I mean, I limit myself usually to only like one Kickstarter a year and maybe one other like Humble Bundle type thing a year. So no more than like 2, because I'm on a disability pay. I get paid $900 a month. That's it. So I try to limit mine, but I still try to be effective. Plus, I dedicate my channel to Extra Life, part of the Children's Miracle Network, and I just got a payout for my channel. So I do want to thank people for listening in and stuff. Every time I accumulate at least $100 in revenue from the channel, it pays me out, and then I can take half of that and immediately send it over to Extra Life. So I'm just waiting for that to clear the banks, and then I'm going to be donating $52 to Extra Life because I got a $103 payout. So I take half, rounded up, right off the top, and give it to Extra Life. So it's very important for people in the community to give where they can, and this is just one example. But I don't want to spend too much time on this. We talked about helping the people in the Ukraine last week. We're talking about helping trans in Texas this week. You never know what the next one will be that we talk about, but it's just important to just let your voice be heard and stand up for other people's rights who may not always be able to stand up for themselves. I mean, and they should stand up too, but it's good to support them. And we have a lot of friends in the trans community and the gender fluid communities, all the different ones that qualify, and a lot of them happen to be nerds, which is okay. It's perfectly fine. A lot of theater majors and stuff are also big in that, and so we really like to support our fellow nerds out there and our fellow people out there. So we're going to go ahead now, though, and now turn it over to Philip's first topic of the day. And let's see, that is, oops, I didn't move yours to the, there we go. Pokemon Brilliant Diamond. There we go.
Pokemon. Okay. So they are adding some new content to Pokemon Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl. The Pokemon Company, or they are adding Arceus as a encounter in the game that you can then collect. It's kind of catch, but when it comes to Arceus, I'm sure they're going to do something a little bit different. But you can add Arceus coming up soon with the free update 1.3.0. But there is a little bit of a catch in order to get in order to get Arceus and Brilliant Shining Diamond Pearl, and that is you have to also have a save file on your same Switch for Pokemon Legends Arceus, and you have to have beaten the main story of both games. And then that will, once you have that, it'll then give you a chance on Brilliant Diamond Shining Pearl to find the Azure Flute at your home. I think it was in your bedroom. Then you can head up to Mount Coronet and meet Arceus to dethrone, basically, the Pokemon God. And on top of that, there's also going to be a limited time event in April to catch Darkrai in Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl. So I wasn't sure if I wanted to bring up this particular subject because adding some extra content to games is not something I cover very often. But since this is a limited time thing, at least for Darkrai, you want to try to get on there within the 30-day window in April to scoop it up. And just like the Arceus on Brilliant Diamond Shining Pearl, you have to have beaten the game, gotten into the Hall of Fame, and acquired the National Pokedex. But then also you have to, with Darkrai, you also have to have the, there's a Pokemon named Cresselia in the game that you have to also have in order to catch Darkrai. So it's not a whole lot of new stuff, but it is, some new content for the Pokemon games. It's kind of nice to see that they're continuing to support the latest games, even though they have another new set of games coming out later this year. Seeing them continuing to add some more Pokemon. They just add Shaman to BDSP just I think 3 or 4 weeks ago. And now we're adding Arceus and Darkrai to it as well. So just keeping things going, keep it. And they just added stuff to Legends Arceus even more recently, within the last couple of weeks. So, but yeah, the main thing I want to make sure everyone noticed was the Darkrai has a limited time. Everything else you can always catch later on. You can get Arceus at any time, but you only can get Darkrai between April 1st and the 30th.
And those limited windows can be kind of vital for people that are trying to catch them all, as Pokemon.
Yeah.
That's the
yes.
Pokemon motto. You got to catch them all.
Yeah. And boy, oh boy, is that all getting more and more difficult.
Oh, tell me about it. I mean, I gave up on Pokemon Go. I just can't keep up. I mean, for one, I'm not mobile enough to get out there and do all the hunting but two, they just had so many new Pokemon. I have no real chance
Yeah.
compared to some people out there, and then
And
there's not to mention all the international ones.
yeah,
That
and it's not like they're creating Pokemon for Pokemon Go. They're just adding more of the Pokemon that exist from the other games
right,
into Pokemon Go over time.
right,
Because like I think when Pokemon Go first launched, it only had the original 150, and they've been
something like that.
gradually updating it with newer and newer Pokemon over the time.
Yeah, yeah, they're like, I think for Pokemon Go, they're on generation 5 or 6, but there's like more than 10 generations of Pokemon when you count everything.
Um, there's 8 generations, and the new ones coming up this fall will be the start of the ninth generation.
Okay. I don't know if Pokemon Go uses the same generation count as other Pokemon or not, but yeah, they, I, like I said, I stopped playing Pokemon Go because still have it on my phone. Every once in a great while I'll log in if somebody specifically like wants to trade for one of my older Pokemon or
Yeah,
wants some help with like a raid or something and I'm nearby. I might pop in and help, but yeah, I don't keep up anymore. It's just too much to keep up with. It's
yeah.
like an insane collectible card fetish. I mean, I ain't got no more room for the collectible cards. No, I just got no
Man,
more
I
brain
keep
power
I
for
keep
it.
telling myself I'm going to eventually catch them all. I'm going to eventually collect the whole roster. But
But
boy,
you
it is
won't
a
because
lot
they'll
of
add a
time.
new one before you get it.
And I'm not even talking about Go because I'm not doing Go anymore. But I'm playing.
But
I've got
but
Brilliant
you
Diamond
play
and
all the
Shining
others,
Pearl, and
yeah.
yeah, at least relatively recently have started playing them. I haven't. I didn't keep up with them for very many long years. I played the original games, and then I played the second generation, and then I didn't touch them again until I think seventh generation when I played Moon, and then didn't play it anymore until the Brilliant Diamond Shining Pearl remakes came out, and I played that for 90 hours ish. 80 hours. I don't know. I
Pokemon's an
played one for
obsession. I
80
mean,
hours, and then I also played Legends Arceus, and I can't remember which one. One I played for 80, and one I played for 90.
well,
And
Magic the
what?
Gathering started the collectible card game craze, but Pokemon, in some ways, is more widespread. Partly
It,
because it's not just a collectible card game, it's also been in video games longer and everything else. So,
yeah, anime, video games,
yeah,
manga, and
it
all that.
became a collectible card game as well, but it's been in so many other things that, and it appeals to a younger generation than Magic does. Magic is a little bit more adult themed than Pokemon is. Pokemon still got the more cartoony, fun, you don't kill, you capture kind of thing. Where in Magic, you're still trying to, you know, defeat your
Yeah,
opponents by killing them.
yeah, yeah. Worst case scenario, Pokemon, you make them think.
That's right. Yeah, so it's much more PG over the more adult themed Magic. Not to mention, Magic had some controversial times there where they even had religious rights groups fighting to get rid of pentagrams and stuff off of the Magic cards,
Oh
and
yeah, I mean
Walmart wouldn't even carry them until they got rid of the pentagrams or
they were
pinnacles.
doing that. The people were doing that same shit with Pokemon. They were burning the cards and calling them Satan cards and whatever, saying that they
Yeah.
were Pokemon was a form of worshiping the devil. People get kind of crazy about things,
Well, it's
but
like
that's a whole nother
the
that's a whole
satanic
nother
panic for Dungeons and
conversation.
Dragons.
Yeah,
Before Mothers Against Drunk Driving, it was Mothers Against Dungeons and Dragons, and it was they believed that these kids playing D&D could actually summon demons, and that's why they were against it. I was like, yeah,
yeah.
nope. If kid's gonna be a demon, he's already a demon. Okay, we're gonna go on to our next topic. Speaking of Dungeons and Dragons, let's see, where's my mouse pointer? I love it when it gets lost. There we go. Dual monitor support makes it twice as hard to find.
Yeah. I've got
Okay.
3 monitors. It can get lost pretty easily.
And that's not to mention when the actual mouse pointer disappears on you. And then you have to find it by, picking up your mouse and adjusting the battery and doing other things. Anyway, this
I
is a
keep
little...
fidgeting.
What now?
Sorry, for anyone that's wondering why I keep like bending down, it's because I'm fidgeting with this like metal. I don't even remember what it is. It's like a little metal wire thing that's kind of stiff. I keep fiddling with it and then dropping it, and after I drop it, I go, I don't want to leave that on the floor. I'm going to step on it and hurt myself, and so I pick it up, and then instead of setting it down, I fiddle with it again until I drop it again.
All nerds have ADHD shiny. we can't keep still for too long. We
Yeah,
have to mess with things. Fidget spinners were invented for nerds. As were
yeah.
Rubik's cubes and sketch pads and anything else to keep her hands busy. My girlfriend's constantly crocheting and knitting just to keep her hands busy. Okay. Anyway, my thing, one of the big things for me this time is a free app that's available online now for computer and tablet. Does not work on mobile telephones, but it does work on tablets. And it's called Roll, ROLE. And the website is playroll.com. And it is a virtual tabletop. Now, they don't bother with cam, it doesn't look like, from what I was looking at it, which is okay because that's just a lot of extra bandwidth that they can focus on other things. But you can log into Roll and create the tabletop. And what's cool is it comes preloaded not only with Dungeons and Dragons, but with Call of Cthulhu and Mask, the superhero game that we've talked about on the show
Oh yeah.
with Greg. So I actually I'm waiting to hear back from Greg to see if he's heard anything about it, because we were talking about at some point doing a Mask game on a broadcast, and
Yeah.
so it'd be a great virtual tabletop to do that with, and we could do the cams just using Discord and cams and microphones, and then do the rest of it here. And it's got dice rollers, it's got a random draw card deck system and things, and you can customize your own kind of character sheets, or it's got, like I said, the pre-generated ones. If I hit login, it should remember me and not need my stuff. Like, I've got a little virtual table here. Go into my test table and play. And this one's set up for D&D 5.0. And it's got, like I said, there's already some pre-generated characters that you can check out. Don't have to make yourself. And you can hit play on that character, for instance, and it got all the details for the character. Like, I can click and roll a wisdom check there, and it automatically puts the plus there. Roll 2 20s. In this case, I rolled with advantage. And there's things you can do, and then I can just go here and remove the character to get out of it, and all that does is take me back to the beginning. And it's just a nice little tabletop, and you can shrink out these menus and everything so that you can see more of the play area. You can upload some stuff to this play area screen here. I haven't played around with it too much to see what all I can do as of yet, but it takes care of the dice rolling, and you can build up assets like There's a free D&D Adventures. There's a D&D Basic Rules already loaded in. There's some PDF. You can put PDFs, you can put maps, tokens, images that you can add on in the assets. So it's like Roll20 and some of those other virtual tabletops, Fantasy Grounds, but it's free. So for those of you who are looking for a free way to play online with just a little bit of help, and you're still going to do most of your voice and cam over like Discord or Zoom meeting or Facebook meeting or something like that, this is a nice possible option for you. It's already pre-configured with the D20 all the way up to the D100. I don't know what DF stands for. Looks like plus or minus. Clear. I guess you can choose if you get a plus or a minus. A plus minus multiplier. Okay, so it's D factor. Add, subtract, multiply, and divide. It probably doesn't have divide on there. I don't see divide. No. So add, subtract, or multiply. And then it's got a 52 card deck, so you can like pick cards, shuffle, and everything with your standard playing cards and convert those. But it gives you all the things you need, not just to play Dungeons and Dragons, though you can play, like I said, Call of Cthulhu is preset on it. Morkborg, which is I believe it's a German RPG, and then Masks, which is like another like superhero type game. You can create a name, just say Mask Test, and create. You don't have to set a password if you don't want to. Let's get you started. Invite. Yeah, it gives you an invite link as soon as you build the table. And it's got some pre-generated characters for your mask game. Like the beacon. And it's got all the stuff set up for that particular game. And we've been really interested in playing Mask online, so I think this would be a lot of help.
Yeah.
And it's just another tool. And free tools, I love to feature free tools that people can get in on. And so that's what I wanted to touch on today. And if Greg likes this system, we might use it when we eventually come up with a Mask one-shot we can play for everybody to watch and enjoy. If we can talk Greg into running it for us.
Yeah.
For those who don't know, Greg Pullman used to be one of our hosts, but his schedule got awful busy, so in the new year he backed away from hosting, although he still is at Holdfast Brewing Company every third Wednesday of the month doing our tabletop board game night at Holdfast Brewing Company. So on the third Wednesday of the month, you can go and you can see Greg. And what Wednesday is today? Today is the 15th. 7 days to 8. He should be here today. Tomorrow, rather.
Yeah, tomorrow's going to be the third Wednesday.
Tomorrow will be the third Wednesday. So go to Holdfast Brewing Company. If you're comfortable, I'm not asking anybody who's not comfortable to go out in the COVID. But if you're comfortable going out, go to Holdfast Brewing Company. They're supposed to have excellent microbrews. The food's excellent there as well. You can play some quick, casual role or board games, card games. If you're there long enough, he might even get you into something a little bit longer. And you can stay around for the puzzle battle at the end, which is where they hand out several copies of the same puzzle to several teams, and the first team to put the puzzle together wins. So that's something else you can do there. So say hi to Greg for us if you go there, and if you ever have any questions, concerns about our show, about eclectic endeavors or anything, you can relay them to Greg and Greg will get them to us. Or you can comment to us on Facebook, Lurchland or Clyde Star, just because Facebook sometimes will take nicknames and sometimes won't. And it didn't like me as Doc, so it made me put my real name in. So anyway, we're gonna move on. Uh, but go to playroll.com if you want to check out this app. And like I said, right now it doesn't handle mobile phones, but it does handle tablets. Find my mouse. Here we go. Next up is State of Play for March recap.
Yes. So last week I mentioned how there was going to be a state of play on the 9th, and today I just kind of want to do a brief kind of overview of, kind of a brief recap on what the state of play was. So I
We're
thought
going
I'd
to
go
try
to
to
the
do
state
that
of
on a monthly basis.
What's that?
We're going to try to do these State of Plays whenever they come out, like on a monthly basis.
Yeah, they're inconsistent on when they are. It's been a few months since we've had one, and now they've already announced another state of play that's coming up soon. I don't remember the exact date of it, but it'll primarily be about the House of Hogwarts game, the Harry Potter game coming out.
Oh, nice.
But
We got a lot of Hogwarts
yeah,
fans.
yeah. So that'll be the next state of play. Um, March 17th will be that one. So on Thursday, March 17th. So in a couple of days, we're getting another state of play, with that one being focused on Hogwarts Legacy.
So we'll probably cover that next week, which is good
Which,
because
yeah,
I
which
think
is going to give
Superman
us
and Lois is a
that was the one
rerun
on
this week.
the one on Thursday is going to give us. Oops, the one on Thursday is going to give us our first look at actual gameplay for Hogwarts Legacy. That's the title. I've been saying the title wrong.
Well, and I think Superman and Lois is a rerun this week because of March Madness, I heard.
Oh, really?
Because of the sports thing. I think it's basketball. So they're supposed to be running a rerun of Superman and Lois. I don't know if they're doing they shouldn't do a rerun of Flash. It just restarted. But
Yeah, I was going to say we've only had one episode of The Flash since in 2022.
which we will talk about later on. But
Yeah.
if we don't have a Superman and Lois this week, more to talk about next week is good. So you can talk
Yeah.
about that state of play next week.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I'll go ahead and get started on this state of play. So they started off with a video of a bunch of dinosaurs falling out of a vortex in the sky and futuristic exosuits, battling with them. There was a red-haired woman, and it got a lot of people thinking this was a new Dino Crisis game with the dinosaurs and a red-haired lady, but it's a new title coming out called Exo Primal from Capcom, which is also the same company that made the Dino Crisis. So it really had people thinking one thing, but it was the other. Me personally, I'm not super interested in the Exo Primal, but I'm sure it's going to have its audience. It had like kind of an intriguing thing. You got all those dinosaurs just falling out of the sky. It's kind of crazy. It's a very unique looking game. Next up, we got some new footage for Ghostwire Tokyo, the new trailer for that. And me personally, I think that game looks really great. The previews I've been seeing have been looking good. Some people are describing it as like a first-person shooter, but with magic instead of bullets. And that just sounds awesome to me. It's open world, which is something we didn't know about before. And that wasn't even shown in the trailer, just something I learned from the previews.
I'm
That
running the video
it's an
without
open.
sound.
Huh?
I'm running the video without sound so they can see kind of what you're talking about.
Oh, okay. Um, and then, where are we at on that one? Okay, so it's showing the dinosaur game. Yeah, and then, and then after the Ghostwire Tokyo, which comes out on PS5 on March 25th, the Exo Primal, they just gave a date of 2023. And then the next thing they showed was they announced that there is a new demo for Stranger of Paradise Final Fantasy Origin that is now available to play. That the progress you make in that demo will carry over to the full game, which the full game comes out later this week. So it just comes out in a few days, I think on Friday. The next thing they showed us was a game I'm really looking forward to called Forspoken. However, the release of that has been delayed. It was supposed to come out in May. It's been pushed back to October. But the trailer they showed for the new trailer they showed for it just makes everything look so cool. Like the traversal, I had her like sledding on water with like a magic sled. Like she like was conjuring magic to do things. It looked like
Nice
magical
dragon.
parkour. What's that?
Nice dragon.
Yeah, yeah. So you're fighting dragons. You got like these magical extra bounces in the air. You've got this kind of I don't know. It looks so slick and so quick and so fast. It's kind of like gameplay style. It has this cool factor to it. Kind of like you know, I think it's got some parts of the engine of Final Fantasy 15, but more focused for one individual character instead of the four that you had in that game, and a lot more traversal, like cool traversal. You see your characters like getting stronger with more magic and newer abilities. Um, I'm kind of likening the coolness factor to it to kind of like how like the Devil May Cry game, gives me in vibes. Although this looks even more up my alley than the Devil May Cry
The
games.
creatures are amazing. I love them.
And so I can't. I mean, it's just it's just footage that we've got so far, but everything about it just seems awesome, and I cannot wait to play this game. You might remember I talked about this game before, where it's the one where you're a girl from I think New York or something like modern day world who gets pulled into this fantasy world and has to use magic to survive. It looks great.
And it rises in
So
October, right
so yeah,
about the time of game.
this new trailer was the best looking trailer we got for it. Just everything looks so sleek and so cool. The next game was a new reveal for a new Gundam game called Gundam Evolution. It'll be a free-to-play first-person shooter for PS4 and PS5 and later this year. And it was kind of weird. It's a first-person shooter in these big mech suits. It kind of looks like Call of Duty Advanced Warfare, almost sort of a gameplay, but more fast-paced. Um, the Gundams were able to transform into like aircraft sometimes to fly around in a smaller form and then change back to the
Yeah.
more humanoid form to keep fighting.
Well,
Um,
Gundams were the original Transformers.
See, I'm not a big Gundam guy, and I don't remember that Gundams were Transformers.
Yeah, no,
Um,
a lot of them could turn into originally like jets.
yeah. So yeah, admittedly that the transformation thing surprised me because I didn't remember they could transform. I've played a Gundam game once years ago, and I didn't play the whole thing. I played a few boss fights because a friend of mine kept getting stuck on it, and he couldn't beat a boss here and there, and
Oh, I'm
so
going all the way back to the anime before they were on video games.
yeah.
Yeah, Gundam
um,
anime, the original Gundam anime, they often turned into tanks and jets.
yeah.
Um,
I do have to wonder, and then I saw someone else bring this up, but it shows footage of them in like these big hallways shooting at each other, and you have to question just how big are these damn hallways to have a massive mech suit running through it and dodging left and right.
now we're on Turtle Cowabunga.
Yeah, so this is a big exciting moment. Ninja Turtles Cowabunga bundle. It is I think it was like 30 something Ninja Turtle games all coming together in one bundle. Uh, some of them are Game Boy Ninja Turtle games, some of them are arcade Ninja Turtle games, some of them are NES and Super NES. We've got all
I
kinds of
recognize
Ninja
some
Turtles
of
in here.
them.
There's some fighting games in here, Ninja Turtle
Yeah, it
fighting
looked
games.
like the Turtles playing freaking Street Fighter as the Turtles.
Yeah. I mean, just look at that. There's just so much
I
Ninja
mean,
Turtle there.
if you're a Ninja Turtle fan, it's a gotta have.
Yeah, it's a. This is like the one thing we got from Konami. I wasn't expecting Konami to even be here, and if they were, it was going to be like a pachinko machine or something. But no, they showed up with one of the highlights with this Ninja Turtle bundle.
And what's this? This
Um.
this is a monster
So
game.
yeah. So the next thing is a new multiplayer game called Giga Bash. It's a giant monsters multiplayer
Yeah, I
battle.
just now showed the name. Yeah, Giga Bash.
Yeah.
Giga Bash for
Uh.
5 and 4, so I could get it for my 4.
Yes. Yeah. I don't have a
Uh,
whole lot to say about it. The footage was kind of short, and
yeah,
I don't
really
know.
short.
It's just like kaiju monsters fighting each other in some kind of a mayhem brawl multiplayer event. We'll
If
need
you
to see more
like
about it later.
kaiju's,
That one didn't interest me much, but well, I'll keep an eye see if it picks up in more interest later. The next thing they showed was JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, All Star Battle R, which comes out this fall. Do you know anything about JoJo's Bizarre Adventure? I
not
never
really.
watched
I've
it.
heard the name, but I've not really kept up with any of it. I've just heard the
Yeah.
name a couple of times.
So
Kind of
the
recognize a
visuals on
couple
this
of the
game are
images,
using like
but
cell shading animation, kind of like a lot of the Street Fighter. Well, it's more like the Street Fighter animations. I was thinking about it being like the Dragon
but
Ball
they're
Z
using like
animation, but
using like noir cartooning, kind of similar to Archer.
yeah. So like the animation style for this game, the design style looks similar to like a hybrid between what Street Fighter games have been doing lately and the Dragon Ball Z fighting games have been doing lately. It's kind of a hybrid between the two, I think. I can't say a whole lot about this game. It looks like it's a fighting game of JoJo's Bizarre Adventure characters, and a whole lot of characters in it. 50
Yeah,
playable
Shrimp Dude.
characters to be exact. Our next announcement was this really cool looking game called Trek to Yomi. This really it looks like a very atmospheric Japanese. It looks like it's going to feel like playing a Japanese manga. Like a samurai story. It's not
A
all
Kurosawa
2D
type.
side scroller. It's got some like 3D elements, so you're going into stuff. Um, it looks like it's got like some classical, traditional like Japanese actors and stuff for playing the different characters. Like the credits on it almost feel like it's doing the credits of like a like real serious art house samurai film or something.
It's very
I mean,
Kurosawa, very Shogun.
yeah.
Could use a little soy sauce.
So this is the second time we've seen
Yeah.
this game that
If you
I
got
know
like
of,
little pockets
and
or something, that'd be perfect.
it's it's looking better and better. I mean, it looked good in the first place, and this is looking even better. It's very intriguing. It's probably going to be a relatively short game, and so I'm probably going to pick this up at launch or close to launch, and play it, over the weekend or something. It just looks. It has this really beautiful thing, even though there's no color. It's all black and white, but it somehow comes off very beautiful.
Well, in black and white, you can
Uh,
be classy and elegant.
yeah. Um, Moving on from there, the next announcement we got, which is a big shock, an update for the game Returnal, which is a PS5, really intense PS5 game that a lot of people considered their game of the years. It's getting a big update that's going to add co-op, and it's going to add a new mode called Tower Sisyphus. So it's a whole new area to play and a whole new challenge to go after. And I'm really excited about the co-op aspect. I'm hoping I can find a friend that is into this game and play some co-op with them. And then, because it looks like it'd be a blast on co-op. And I don't know if I'm good enough at the game to take on the Tower of Sisyphus, but we'll see. Maybe eventually I'll get there. I haven't finished the game. It's a very difficult game, and
Is it on PS4?
it's not on PS4. It's PS5 only.
Yeah, then I can't co-op with you.
Yeah, yeah. It's got a lot of like particle things that it's doing all the time. They say it wouldn't work on the PS5, and it looks
On the
great. Like a
4,
YouTube video doesn't quite do it justice.
yeah, I
Uh,
can see that. 4 just doesn't have the chops that 5 has.
yeah, yeah, because it not only does it have to look this good, it has to look this good this fast. Because speed is a very big
Yeah,
factor
the
in this
load
game.
time's important.
You have to be very quick and very mobile to dodge all these. It's like a bullet hell with all the different attacks coming at you. I love the way they revealed the co-op in this, because I don't even know, in this game you die all the time, and when you die, it's in the story for your character to die, and you get reborn again.
Oh, this is
The
that
character
game.
respawns and is aware that they have died and are coming back.
Yeah, this is that
And
game that you're
sometimes,
talking about.
yeah, and sometimes you'll find your own body on the ground. This time, in the trailer, it shows one copy of you finding one on the ground and then reaching out and grabbing their hand and picking them up. And this is a free update we're getting, which is kind of crazy. It sounds like a lot of extra stuff that they're giving us. Eternal Ascension, all for free. Um, So yeah, that's something that was really a big shock for me. And the next thing they announced, the next two things they announced, they are back to back. They're both new Square Enix RPG games. The first one being the Dio Field Chronicle, and the second one being Valkyrie Elysium. And they're both going to be on PS4 and PS5, with Valkyrie Elysium coming out later this year. Dio Field Chronicle, I don't think they gave us any kind of a release date window, so probably 2023. Um, to be honest, I can't tell you the difference between them. Like, I've seen the footage for both games twice, and I can't remember them. Like, to me, they weren't super memorable, but maybe they will be for other people.
People into
Um,
that kind of game, maybe.
yeah. So,
They're
I don't know. I
different
mean,
niches for everybody.
the voice that they had on Valkyrie Elysium did sound similar to some of the voice work we had on Final Fantasy 14. So that might actually end up being a pretty good. I don't know. I don't know if that's much of a judgment on anything. But yeah, I don't remember which one it was, but one of them, I think it was the Dio Field Chronicle, looked like it was going to be like a Final Fantasy Tactics game, but then the title was Dio Field Chronicle, and then I couldn't help but go, why not just call it Final Fantasy, Tactics 2 or something, or some new Final Fantasy Tactics? Because I'm pretty sure they showed a summon, I don't
An
know.
Aeon summon
It,
or
it,
something, yeah.
it a lot of it felt very Final Fantasy esque, like it could have been Final Fantasy, but it's not.
Yeah,
So
no, why not play on the name and get the name recognition?
yeah, but I don't know. Maybe the creators are wanting to do something a little bit different. And that's pretty much it. That's pretty much it. I know you still got the footage going, um, but
I can stop it
that's
though.
just a okay. And so yeah, I don't know if I have any more else to say right now about these. I kind of was obvious about my personal highlights: the Ghost Story Tokyo, um, the Ninja Turtles, the Returnal, and Forspoken. Those are really my personal highlights. I'm
Right. The
the
Ninja Turtle stuff, I'm excited.
Stranger of Paradise Final Fantasy Origin. I'm wanting to try out. The reviews are coming out on that because that's coming out in a couple of days, and reviews are coming out on Stranger of Paradise. And some reviewers are giving it really good scores, some are giving it mixed scores. So it's kind of. I saw a headline that described that the review scores are chaotic, which is an obvious. It's a play on words because people have been joking about how many times the trailers say the word chaos for that game.
Right.
Because there's like a villain called Chaos, and everyone wants to kill Chaos. They're like, we have to kill Chaos. We should do this as long as they help us kill Chaos.
As a
So
complete non sequitur, I just rewatched that Jason Statham and Wesley Snipes movie, Chaos.
Oh, I'm trying to remember that.
Ryan
Okay, yeah, yeah,
Felipe,
yeah. From like 2010.
something like that.
Yeah, yeah. It's been a little while.
Yeah, I just rewatched it the other day
Cool, cool.
when I was looking for
So,
my flashbacks for the week.
so that was a bit of a longer one, but I don't know. It was a lot of different things altogether. And the presentation itself was about 20 minutes. Um, some people gave it too much. Some people overhyped in advance because, they said right up front this is going to feature primarily Japanese games, Japanese developers, no PSVR, and then people were going, "Ooh, are we getting Infamous? Are we getting Jack and Daxter? Are we getting, and people were hyping it up with things that they were already told weren't going to be there. Basically, they were mostly told what not to expect. So I think as long as people, didn't get overhyped in advance for expectations of things that Sony had already said shouldn't be expected there, I felt like after that the presentation was a pretty solid one. Not A class, but I still felt like it was a pretty solid state of play, giving us
Right?
a taste of what to expect for the rest of the year.
Right? Okay. Well, let's move on.
Yeah.
Okay. First off, I'm going to talk about a TV series, another Amazon original TV series. It's just started their second season, and they have the whole season on there for the second season. It stars Robbie Amnell, which is, of course, Stephen Amnell's brother, who played Green Arrow in the Arrowverse. Robbie
Yeah.
actually played Robbie Raymond, the part of Firestar uh, in The Flash later on before he got killed. But he was Caitlin's fiance. He's also known for The Tomorrow People and a few other movies and TV shows, but he's been doing a lot of those Liberty Mutual commercials lately. But
Liberty,
Upload,
Liberty, Liberty.
yep,
Wait, Robbie and Mills doing the Liberty
yeah, he's the
Mutual
one that
commercials?
does this because Liberty Bibbity. Um, well, we'll dub it. Okay,
Really?
Liberty Mutual. Yes. Anyway, Upload is very Ready Player One in that they upload into a virtual reality world. What happens is when you die, at the point right before your death, they can take your memory engrams and upload you into this virtual community. So you live on after death in Upload. Now,
I've seen some trailers for this. This looks pretty cool.
I just went through season one. I had gone through most of season one before, but I started over and went through season one and two this last weekend, and it's really good. And they haven't confirmed it for season three yet, but they're optimistic. Um, but you get uploaded to these upload communities when you die, and there's one lakeside community. I think it's called Lakeview or Lakeside. Is like the upper crust, all rich people's retirement community, and Robbie Amnell's character gets uploaded there by his girlfriend because he's in a self-driving car accident, and the main thing you got to realize is before he gets uploaded, Robbie is working on code to create a free version of uploads so that people could go in who weren't rich and didn't have a ton of money to pay for upload, even the cheapest upload community, could come in, and it's more of a Second Life, Sim City kind of upload environment where you kind of build your own environment.
Okay.
And he was working on that code, but before that code happened, he dies in a self-driving car accident, even though self-driving cars are never supposed to get into accidents. So there's always this mystery of, was he killed on purpose? And when he gets into upload, some of his memories are not transferred properly. They're corrupted. Now,
Oh.
you're not allowed to work when you're in upload anyway. So he couldn't continue his work anyway, even if he wanted to, because they don't want dead people stealing jobs from living people. So, but if he had continued his work with his partner on
That's a sentence I never thought I'd hear said.
Yeah, right?
We don't want dead people stealing jobs from living people.
Well, with the advent of like zombie movies and stuff, you'd think you'd have heard it sooner.
Yeah.
But anyway, it's a brilliantly done show, and it's got some really interesting, intriguing characters that have been uploaded, and some living characters they're also really neat. What happens though when you go to this one main upload area, the ritzy one, everybody gets assigned an angel. That's basically their customer service rep. And so when they need a customer service, they say angel, and an angel appears. And if their angel's not on duty, another angel pops in, but it's not an AI, it's an actual person. And Robbie Amnell and his angel end up falling in love, as these things always happen. Even though his girlfriend's what uploaded him to upload in the first place. And so it's a lot of emotional drama, a lot of who killed me.
I mean, does the girlfriend visit him and upload very often?
Some. I don't want to ruin the movie or the show for anybody by giving up what happens throughout 2 seasons, but I will say there are full body cyber suits that, depending on who you talk to, some call them sex suits, some call them hug suits, because you can use them to like hug your child and upload.
Well, my point was even though the girlfriend uploaded him to upload, did she actually like still maintain a
she wants to marry him,
I guess, with him, or
she still wants to marry him, and the reason she put him in upload is she wants to be with him forever.
Yeah,
because he didn't actually even want to go into upload. And since she paid for his upload membership and everything, she basically owns him now too, because of the fact that she owns his memory engrams, because she's the one paying the bill. So that's another subplot within all the other plots. And of course, Robbie Amnell is a really attractive young man, which is a big part of his character here. He's supposed to be a really, really attractive man, and his girlfriend is really, really attractive. So they were supposed to be a superpower attractive couple. Then the fact that, she's filthy rich and he's brilliant app designer kind of thing is another side thing. But he ends up falling for his angel, and she also ends up falling for him, and all kinds of stuff ensues. I don't want to give away anything, but it's definitely worth it. It's on Amazon Prime. So as long as you have Amazon Prime membership, you can watch it. So like Picard, this is another one that you can watch on Amazon Prime and get a lot out of. And hopefully, nerds, we enjoy anything having to do with virtual reality, uploading onto computers, super science. We love that kind of stuff. So, give it a shot. That's my for first recommendation for the week. I've got some other recommendations. I'll be doing the vault, and then of course we'll go into our regular media section in just a little bit. But before that, I believe Philip wanted to talk about a new trailer that dropped,
Yes.
and let's just go right on to that.
Did you watch
And
the trailer?
oops, I think I just closed that. Hold on, I need to
Oh,
reopen last reopen closed tab. There we go. Yes, I did actually.
okay.
Okay, once it gets past this commercial.
Commercial.
Yep.
Jeez.
Now we have the sound off because we don't want to get any copyright.
Yeah. So
But
this
this,
trailer is for Miss Marvel, coming to Disney Plus June 8th. Let's check this out. So we're
it's not the
getting
next Marvel series because the next one's Moon Knight.
yeah. Next one's is Moon Knight coming out at the end of March. Um. So this show here, we're seeing there's certain aspects of the show that kind of give off to me Scott Pilgrim versus the World vibes. The explanation of those being her imagination running wild, and so we're getting to see how in parts of the show we're seeing how she sees the world through the lens of someone who doodles comics and kind of lives in this fantasy world a lot of the time.
Her
Um,
daydreams.
which we've seen other movies that do that kind of a thing before, but the difference here being is she ends up getting powers and lives in a world with superpowered people. And from the looks of things, it looks like they're changing up how she gets her powers by some like weird amulet thing that she puts on that she finds.
Right.
And it seems to have some kind of cosmic power to it that is then passing on to her to give her these abilities. And like we see here, we got like the big fist thing that happens, but they're kind of reimagining how her powers work a little bit. I mean, I'm not an expert in Miss Marvel in the in Kamala Khan, but I know that she's primarily known. She's primarily shown as like embiggening herself and standing out, kind of like Mr. Fantastic. But I can
Yeah,
also
making the
see why they
oversized
don't want to.
limbs. Yeah.
I can also see why they want to make her too much like Mr. Fantastic, since we're getting it Mr. Fantastic eventually.
Right.
Um, so they're kind of making it kind of these like cosmic things. But I'm not, like I said, I'm not an expert in the character, but as I understand, she does have some other power besides just embiggening herself and extending and things like that. But I'm not really familiar with all of those.
But
Most of my experience with her is her appearances and other things. I played as her in the Avengers video game. She was like the main character of that, and she's been in a few other like Avengers comics that I've read, but never been a main character in anything I read. Although I have heard that her solo first run series was phenomenal. I haven't read it, but I hear it's really good.
was she supposed to be a major fan of Captain Marvel? Part of the reason why she takes the moniker of Miss Marvel.
Yep, yep.
And
She
the
loves she
rumors
loves
is
Captain Marvel.
she's one of the build-ups to the Young Avengers.
Yeah. And we do know that we have this TV series starting now that really introduces her and develops her. But we do know that she will be in the movie The Marvels later, which will be the Captain Marvel sequel. So Captain Marvel 2 is called The Marvels, and it'll have this girl, Kamala Khan. It'll have,
Monica Rambeau.
Monica Rambeau and Brie Larson's Captain Marvel, which right now her human name is weirdly missing me.
It's
But
Carol Danvers.
yes, Carol Danvers. Jeez, why? What happened there?
We have
This
Carol
froze.
Danvers as Captain Marvel, Monica Rambeau as Spectrum, and her as Miss Marvel.
Miss Marvel. Yeah, that's the way things are looking for the Marvels movie.
Currently, we don't
Currently,
know
yeah.
who else we're going to see, but we know we're going to see those. Um, we kind of got a
So
Marvel
yeah,
family thing going on.
Yeah.
Uh,
And so this show looks like it's going to be fun. It does definitely look like it's targeted for a slightly younger audience than the other content is, the other Marvel shows are. But it's about a girl that's in what looks like high school, having to get these powers and stuff. And I dropped my fidget thing again.
mm,
But yeah, I wanted to just make sure we shared that and had a chance to talk a little bit about it. You have any other thoughts about what they're doing with this? I think
no,
it's kind of cool that we're seeing her imagination a bit, so it helps us see the world how she sees the world.
but you know what I just realized?
What's that?
I never turned on my chat monitor, so we could have had chatters here, and I have no idea.
Oh, I've got mine running and I don't see anybody.
But I'm going to put it on now.
Yeah,
I mean, I have the phone monitor, but I didn't have the chat list.
yeah.
That's
So,
important. Okay.
yeah.
Well, now we're going to go to my From the Vault. I've actually got two From the Vaults this week. Um, first
Maybe
off,
we might just do one of the vaults and save the other vault for next week, so we can then move up. We can get to the
what time is
TV
it?
show stuff.
We'll see. Yeah, it's 9:08. Might need to go
Yeah,
directly to TV. Um,
yeah.
well, then I'm going to go with the first one, which is Batman. Now, of course, the Batman is out in theaters right now, so I thought it was rather appropriate to go back to the 80s. And Tim Burton, when he tried to reinvigorate the superhero genre and came out with his rendition of the Batman series, which ended up being four movies, although he was not involved at all in the fourth movie. He was
I don't think
just
I don't think I don't think he's involved with the third one either. Was
he
he? This is just the
is
first two.
he is a producer in the third movie, but not a director. Or is it the other
Oh,
way around? He's one or the other because I just watched all four, and but Joel Schumacher took over the reins in the third and fourth movies, and he's not involved at all in the fourth movie, Tim Burton. But anyway, if you have not seen these movies, they are surprisingly great movies. First off, nobody would have expected it, even though he's a great actor. Michael Keaton played a really good Bruce Wayne. Um, you don't quite expect it because before this, most of Michael Keaton's stuff had been very comedic, um, with the occasional exception. Um, you're more likely to have seen him as like Beetlejuice than Batman.
oh
And
man.
but the real surprising one, and again, I don't know why this is so surprising considering he's such a versatile actor, is Jack Nicholson came in as the Joker. And because he based a lot of it on the Cesar Romero Joker, but going a little more serious because of the fact it's a Tim Burton movie, it's not an Adam West TV show. He took the slapstick comedy of the Cesar Romero Joker and instilled it with the dark grittiness of a Tim Burton movie and made a very dangerous Joker
Yeah.
that had all the elements of both. Because, I mean, some iterations of the Joker was very slapstick, funny. He's much more about his joy buzzers and his fist punch guns and his all these different his squirting flowers and things. These are what the Joker was about. Is all gimmicky tricks, and they did a lot of focus on that in the first movie. Then the second movie brings in Danny DeVito, and as we talked about last week, this is about the only iteration of the Penguin where the Penguin's actually a mutant. Uh, and by mutant in this case, I'm not meaning that he's got laser eyes or anything like that. I mean, he's was born with a birth defect. He's got flippers for hands.
Yeah,
And he's got a
he's
very
no he's,
very
he's
peaked
no
nose.
Gambit or Cyclops, but
Yeah, he's not really a superhero mutant. He's more of a birth defect mutant.
yeah.
Uh, and he's got a very pointed nose. He's got flippers for hands. Um, so much so that his rich, snooty parents dumped him over a bridge into a Gotham sewage line stream that took him into the sewers under Gotham, where he was raised by, of all things, penguins. Well, I don't know why penguins are in Gotham City, but yeah, penguins in Gotham City. I guess they escaped from the Gotham Zoo.
Yeah.
But he
Gotham
does has
doesn't make sense
his
a lot
obsession
of the
with
time.
his obsession with birds and umbrellas are brought out in here because he's based on the Burgess Meredith version of the Penguin. Because again, all of Tim Burton's inspiration really comes from the Adam West TV show. He went for darker tones and grittiness, but based around the campy 1950s and 60s Adam West TV show. And then, of course, Catwoman was played by Michelle Pfeiffer. And she was better than the Catwoman movie.
not to distract too much from your point, but I'm realizing every time Batman movies get a reboot, basically, with a new actor and like new key crew, it gets darker and more serious than the previous time. Right? First we had Adam West, which was just all camp and silliness. And then we got the Tim Burton franchise, basically, the 4 films, effectively, that get progressively light, goofier. But, they come on and they have some camp
They
to them,
insert the
some
dark.
goofiness, but they darken it down a bit, right? They get a little bit darker than the previous,
grittier, a
the
little
Adam
darker.
West. A little grittier, a little darker, but still pretty silly and goofy. And then
Nolan.
we got the Nolan trilogy, which try to get more realistic and darker. With those 3 films, and then we got Batman v Superman, where he basically was the villain of the movie.
And then we have the Batman.
And then we got the Batman, which is just
dark,
really dark.
I mean,
it's
they use washed out dark colors through that whole movie.
Yeah, I
you
think
didn't
it was
see a
Brian
bright
George
light hardly at all.
Of pitch meetings made a joke about how they're portraying Gotham as a one light bulb per family.
Light bulb rationing.
Yeah, they ration light bulbs in that town. But that one, they didn't just get to where it was like in serious tones. They got to where it was like the real seedy underbelly of a grimy city. Like the other ones would reference how grimy the city was. In the Batman, it felt grimy. You weren't told it was grimy. You felt it was grimy.
Like they took one of the villains that Batman traditionally goes up against. It usually has a bright costume, the Riddler, usually in bright green, and put him in dark, like
so the Riddler normally is just like he was a straight up serial killer, like bashing people's head in with stuff, and then leaving dark clues and oh my god.
Yeah, the Riddler was so much deadlier in this one.
Yeah, 2 more reboots and the whole movie will just be an all black screen podcast that we listen to at the theater.
It'd be a black podcast with Batman's growl periodically.
Yeah. Narrated it
Every
throughout with a
once in a
voice
while, a
crew.
lightning strike will like flash on the screen, but you won't see much. Maybe the
You'll see the bat
silhouette
signal
of
every once
like
in
a
a while. The bat
cityscape
signal will shine.
and a silhouette of a cityscape, and that's about it.
Yeah.
Yeah, because in the Tim Burton
Grrr.
series, and then of course the next movie was Batman Forever. That brought Two Face and the Riddler in, and again, based on more about along the lines of the Adam West. Although I don't remember Two Face being in the Adam West series at all. Um, Two Face was one that didn't really do the Adam West era, but of course Frank Gorshin famously played the Riddler in the Adam West series, and then in a couple of episodes, the guy who played Gomez Adams in the Addams Family TV show actually played the Riddler in the Adam West. It's a little trivia for you. I can't remember the actor's name, but the one who was Gomez Adams in the black and white Addams Family TV show played the Riddler for just a couple of episodes of the Adam West show. But here, Jim Carrey, of all people, comes in and actually does a phenomenal job as the Riddler. I thought Jim Carrey was great as Edward Nygma, considering he's basing the character on Frank Gorshin's character, very much a puzzle-obsessed fanatic who always wants to outsmart the Caped Crusader.
Want to hear some? Want to hear some quick, interesting trivia I just read?
Sure.
So you're right. Two-Face was never appeared in the Adam West TV series, and the reason for that is because he was originally going to be in the show, but he was cut out because he was considered too gruesome.
That's believable.
Yeah.
Well, because they had some people that you never see from Batman that were in the Adam West, like King Tut.
Yeah.
Nobody ever deals with King Tut, but he was in like 3 different plot lines of the Adam West TV series.
In the early stages of the show, the creators of the show wanted to use Two-Face as a villain, but felt he'd be too grim for younger audiences, so the character was shelved. In 1968, as the show's ratings dwindled, the writers and showrunners pondered adding new villains. Two-Face was one of the first choices, along with Scarecrow, but they decided to make him a news anchor instead of Gotham's district attorney, and this accident was the result of a stage light explosion. So I guess they had a kind of a version that they put in there, but it wasn't.
It was a Harvey Dent, but
really
he never
too big.
really.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean,
the show was canceled apparently before the episode
aired.
happened.
That's believable. Yeah, and like that's just like the same reason you wouldn't have like Killer Croc. He would be a little bit too scary for young viewers, or even if they really wanted to do a decent Clayface, I think he would be a little bit gruesome for kids.
Oh, I think Clayface would be difficult to do with visual effects well
Back then,
in that era.
Yeah.
Not impossible. Not impossible.
Not impossible, but difficult. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then, of course, the final entry, which was Joel Schumacher's baby, didn't have Tim Burton involved at all, was the biggest schlock of the whole series.
Well, yeah, the Bat Nipples.
This is the one that killed the series, and that was because this is Batman and Robin. They decided way too early to go ahead and bring in Batgirl. They retconned and changed Batgirl to make her Alfred's niece, and she was played by Alicia Silverstone instead of somebody good. And I'm kidding. Alicia's not that bad, but it
let's
was
let's
too
let's
soon to
be
bring her
clear.
in.
Let's be clear. Batman and Robin featured
Doesn't
a lot of actors
had no
that
business
are
playing the
traditionally good actors and did a terrible job in that movie, which tells you it was probably Joel
yeah
Schumacher's fault.
yeah because Schwarzenegger. First off, if you've ever seen Victor Freeze in any other iteration, he's a squirrely, thin, nerdy guy. He is not Joe Atlas. He is not bench pressing anything. You don't need the running man as Mr. Freeze. Instead,
He
we have Mr.
fluctuates a fair
Freeze.
amount. He fluctuates because of his freeze suit. His actual body is varies.
But he usually
But
has a bald head. Okay, that was accurate. But he's usually very nerdy with thick glasses, and he's studious. And out of the suit, he is scrawny.
yeah,
He
yeah,
is
he
definitely
was a
not
bit
Mr.
ripped.
Universe.
He was a little too ripped for a guy who has trouble with um heat and a scientist. You know what I mean?
Right.
Um, that's fair. Fair. He is often represented as being large, but he's large in his big, fancy, cold, chilling suit.
Mm-hmm.
Um, whether or not he's big underneath that, I don't think. I don't think
They don't take
usually.
him out of the
I
suit very
I think
often.
he
So,
I think he's usually really tall, but I don't think he's like ripped muscularly. You know.
and they don't take him out
I
of the
think
suit very often.
yeah.
Um,
Boy, it was kind of grotesque in Batman Beyond when he was still alive, but he was just a head.
right.
The rest of his body was gone, but he was immortal. He doesn't die. He doesn't age.
But going to that now, I don't remember who played him, but Bane in that movie was horrible because Bane, if you know Batman mythology at all, Bane is Batman's most deadly foe. He's the one that comes closest to beating Batman because he's as smart as Bruce Wayne. He is not some mindless roid head. He's got the super steroid mixture in him, but he like invented it himself. you know,
Yeah.
he's intelligent, he's ruthless, he's a cunning tactician. He's great at setting traps. He's yes, he's worked out into the beyond normal physical uh, limits because of the steroid mixture he's on. So he's super ripped, which gives him a little bit of an advantage over Bruce in straight on battle because he's that much stronger than Bruce. Um, and in this version, he was a mindless experiment from somebody else that
Oh.
just was on the steroids, and that's it. He had the super venom steroid in there, his roid raging, and just did whatever Poison Ivy told him to do. Uma Thurman was okay. I'll give you Uma Thurman was okay. In the whole
Yeah.
movie, Uma was the only one that was decent at all. And she wasn't perfect. Uma could have done better. I think if Tim Burton had still had the reins to this movie, there'd have been a lot of differences.
Yeah. So I was looking up who played Bane in that movie, and it was a guy named Jeep Swinson. Which, first off, Jeep is an odd name for a person, like a vehicle, like the truck,
Right,
the Jeep. Spelled just like that.
right.
He sadly passed away just a few months after Batman and Robin released. Or I don't know exactly when in relation to the movie, but it was in the same year. He died the same year the movie came out. In August. What time of year was Batman and Robin released?
I don't remember.
But that is, well, either way. Looks like he mostly did like wrestling and stuff before that, and he also was in Walker, Texas Ranger for a couple seasons. It looks like WCW Nitro, um, Bulletproof. His last movie he was in was The Bad Pack, which came out the same year as Batman and Robin, but a little bit later that year.
Well, let's see.
He's 40 years old. Man, oh man. Anyway, it's alright. It's kind of a downer. But,
In 1997 was Batman and Robin.
yeah, 97 was Batman and Robin.
And I don't know if it'll say what month it came out.
Heck, even Michael Gough, the guy who played Alfred, didn't do his best performance in that film. Like, he was great in the other three films, and in that film. John Glover is in that movie? I don't remember.
Yeah, he played
I don't
the
remember.
scientist that created Bane.
Wait, Jason Woodrue. Isn't that the doctor who turns into a tree eventually in the comics? Like a tree monster, I think. Something like that. I'm now curious about that. Dang it! I gotta Google Batman or something in this Jason Woodrue Batman. Oh jeez, that's too much to have to try to find it. Anyway, I've got us a little off track, haven't I?
It was June that it released.
Okay,
So
so 2
July,
months
August.
later.
It was June 20th. Less than 2 months later, he died.
Yeah.
Okay, that answers that. So, and that was, the Batman Tim Burton era. And like I said, as one of the trivia quotes on IMDb said under Batman and Robin, what killed the Batman? The Ice Age. Mr. Freeze.
Yeah.
The Ice Age killed the Batman. Because if it wasn't for Mr. Freeze, like if they'd have done some other main villain opposite Poison Ivy as a good supporting villain, they probably would have done better.
Mr. Freeze
Mad
would have
Hatter.
worked.
Mad
Mr.
Hatter
Freeze
would have
could
been
have.
great.
Mr. Freeze could have worked.
Not done
It
by
just wasn't.
Schwarzenegger.
I
You know,
mean, Schwarzenegger could have pulled it off, maybe with some different. Like I said, all the acting performances weren't good, so I can't blame any one actor for
I
doing
mean,
a bad
you
job.
know who could have done a good like Mr. Freeze? Somebody like Malcolm McDowell. You know, John Malkovich. Malkovich would
John
have killed
Malkovich.
it as a
Yeah,
Mr.
I could see
Freeze.
John Malkovich being a horrifying Mr. Freeze.
Right.
He'd probably be too scary for the Tim Burton verse. He needed to be.
He's
He
more
need to
of the
be.
Christopher Nolan level, at least.
Yeah, he's more of a Christopher Nolan Mr. Freeze. But god damn it, now I want to see him as a Mr. Freeze.
Right? Because
That's
Malkovich, you can see that.
dude, he can give a spooky.
Well, just like Malcolm McDowell, same thing. He could pull off something like that too.
Man, oh man.
Tim Roth.
I'm trying to remember who Malcolm McDowell is. Oh, I
Clockwork
know who that
Orange.
is. I know who that is. Yeah.
Yeah. Tim Roth.
Back in the early '90s,
Yeah.
he could have done good at it. Dude, that
Next,
dude's a great actor.
yeah. Tim Roth would have been a good one too. Anyway, so that was my flashback for this week. Let's see what our time like. Yeah, we're gonna go skip my other flashback. I'll just move it to be next week's flashback.
Okay.
I wasn't gonna
Yeah, we got.
talk too much about it, but still.
I think for new shows we've got The Flash and Superman and Lois. Do we have
Yeah,
others?
we have
Those are just
Flash
the
and
two.
Superman and Lois to talk about. Naomi, still not really worth talking about this week. Um, I do recommend watching Picard again for people. I recommended it last week. It gets even better this week. So keep
Would
watching it.
someone
But
who's never watched his Star Trek show, or pretty much Star Trek in general, other than the two of the three Chris Pine movies, like myself, would it be worth it for me to watch, or do I
you
need
know
to
what
have
I
some
would do
background in
if
Star
I
Trek?
was you, Lurch? As much as I love Picard, because you would not have had the background, if you ever get the chance, go back and watch the Next Generation Star Trek, and then Voyager.
I've seen a lot of Star Wars.
No, watch Star Trek: The Next Generation and watch Star Trek Voyager. Forget all the rest. Don't touch Deep Space Nine. I didn't like that one. Don't watch Enterprise. Discovery's too new. It's not required, and you don't need to go all the way back to James T. Kirk. But watch Next Generation because that'll familiarize you with Picard and his coterie of crew members
Yeah.
and villains, and then
Where
watch Voyager because you'll learn about Seven of Nine.
where are those available to watch? Where's those
Um,
episodes available to watch?
I believe they're all on Paramount Plus or Discovery Plus or let's see. I'm watching Next Generation right now on. Am I watching it on Peacock or Paramount? I don't remember which one I'm watching it on. I think I'm watching it on Paramount, which means I'm watching it on Amazon Prime because I have Paramount through my Amazon Prime. But I know that Paramount is getting the rights to all the Star Treks. So eventually you'll find them all on Paramount Plus because Paramount owns the rights to Star Trek. But you can see some of them on Hulu.
According to this, it looks like the 7 seasons of Next Generation are on Netflix.
Okay, there you go. Watch those to get you familiar with Picard and Guinan and Wesley Crusher and Data and Geordie LaForge because they're important characters. You'll like it because
so Netflix has the Next Generation and Deep Space Nine, which obviously I'm not touching Deep Space Nine, but maybe I'll have to. I'm gonna at least put it on my list.
Do they have Voyager?
Voyager. I don't see Voyager.
Let's see here.
Stargate SG-1. It's giving me a whole bunch of movies that don't seem and shows that don't seem to have anything to do with Star Trek, like Devil's Advocate. That one I don't get that. I get why they added Starship Troopers. That one I get. I don't get the Blue Lagoon. Why is the Blue Lagoon listed?
According to TVGuide.com, Voyager is available 2 seasons on CBS.com. Or if you subscribe to Paramount Plus, all 7 seasons. or you can buy it on iTunes or Amazon or Google Play or Vudu. So if you got Paramount Plus, you can watch all 7 seasons there. Or there's 2 seasons on CBS.com.
I don't have Paramount Plus right now, but I am thinking about getting it at some point. Partly because it's got the Halo series on it, and I'm curious
And
about
yeah, the
that.
preview for that's looking actually pretty good. I saw it today.
So, you saw the preview for it?
Yeah.
So, looks like it could be pretty fun. I'm not the biggest Halo fan, but I do enjoy Halo.
I'm not
Like,
a Halo fan, but the preview looked good. Because I don't
oh
like
yeah.
first person shooters.
So yeah, like I've played the campaign of most of the first person shooter games. I haven't touched the strategy games at all, but the FPS games I've played all, but I haven't played the campaign of Infinite. I've only played a little bit of online on Infinite, but yeah,
Hmm.
it's I mean what their list is kind of starting to grow on me at Paramount.
Well, they've got, among other things, they got Young Sheldon, so that's a great spinoff of The Big Bang Theory. Uh,
Yeah, they got South Park,
yeah,
like
yeah,
new South Park
they've
stuff.
got some good stuff.
What the hell is this? Rugrats in 3D?
Oh, the movie?
I, I don't know.
Yeah.
But it's like 3D. It's like computer generated from this artwork anyway.
Mm. Anyway,
It's a Paramount Plus original.
we are now on to the CW verse, and what that
Okay,
means is
yeah.
spoilers, everybody. From this point on, is spoilers. So if you don't like spoilers, it's time to go watch cat videos on YouTube, or better yet, go
Meow
stream
meow.
these shows so that you won't be getting any spoilers.
Yeah,
uh,
man. I wish the cat was nearby and I could like pick him up and be like, cat videos right here.
we are now a cat video. We're going to go viral.
Yeah. Let's just pretend for alligator is a cat.
We've
Meow.
got Totodile as a special guest
I
today
mean,
on.
Totodile. What did I think I said for alligator on accident. That's his third form.
No, yeah, we have Totodile. So,
Totodile.
where else can you find Totodile as a special guest? Only here,
Right?
folks. No. um, anyway, we're back to the CW verse, and as always, we like to handle these kind of in some kind of order. So we're going to start off with Superman and Lois.
Superman
This last, and as I mentioned earlier in the show, there's not supposed to be a new Superman and Lois this week because of March Madness. It's supposed to be a rerun, I think is what I was told. I'm going to check to be sure tomorrow when I get up in the morning. I'm going to see if there's a show. But I think it's supposed to be a rerun today. Anyway, Superman and Lois starts with, Superman and his brother arguing in their cell because, of course, Superman gets locked up with his brother, his half brother, which for some reason his name is completely escaping me right now. And I had it just a few minutes ago.
Talro, his
Calro
brother.
or
That is how
Morgan Edge.
Morgan Edge, yeah.
Yeah, his
That's
Earth name.
but Morgan Edge is his made up name.
That's his
Tal
Earth
Rose
name.
is yeah.
Well, just like
it's
Clark is Kal-El's made up name.
yeah.
But
Yeah.
he's locked up with Morgan Edge in the DOD, and they end up staging a fight to break out, and they end up going up to the Fortress of Solitude where Bizarro is being kept, and the one guy is currently leading that DOD force, the asshole. Can't think of his name right now. Anders, yes. He ends up taking X Kryptonite and following and going up there and fighting with the three of them, he goes to shoot Kal-El with kryptonite bullets, and Morgan Edge actually jumps between Cal and the bullets and takes the hit. So now Morgan's dying, and the holographic Ingram of their mother begs Bizarro to help them and lets Bizarro out of his cage. And Bizarro goes and starts fighting Anders. And Anders is trying to use the kryptonite on Bizarro, and it's not working, of course, because he's Bizarro. And everything's reversed. But somehow Anders figures out that X kryptonite, if regular kryptonite won't work on Bizarro, maybe X kryptonite does, and it does.
Well,
and
it not only doesn't work on Bizarro, it makes Bizarro stronger.
Yeah, just like X kryptonite would make a Kryptonian stronger.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're opposites. And that's the thing that I guess dawned on Anders enough, because he used the X kryptonite on Bizarro and kills Bizarro. At least, so far as we know, Bizarro is dead. This is a comic book TV show, and we all know in comic books nobody stays dead.
Except for Ben Parker.
There's always a way to bring somebody back. Yeah, the only person that ever has died and stayed dead was Ben Parker.
I was gonna say there's two
permadeaths.
There's two permadeaths I can think of. Ben Parker and the original Captain Marvel.
There's also Thomas and Martha Wayne. But
we've got alternate versions of them because of Flashpoint.
Ultimate universes, yeah. But otherwise, they've stayed dead. But if you're going to count alternate universes, everybody's come back. Even Ben Parker's been back in an alternate universe. But well,
it's not just an alternate. Well, it becomes an alternate universe because of Flashpoint. I guess an alternate timeline, a paradox.
Yeah.
Or timeline.
Flashpoint.
Anyway, Flashpoint. That's the word I'm looking for.
Flashpoint. Anyway, so we don't know if Bizarro will be back. We do know that Anders took his copy of the pendant that he got off Clark, that he got off Bizarro. No, he got off Bizarro. No, he got it from Clark. Clark gave it to him.
Yeah, Clark gave it over to him.
And then he wouldn't give it back. Okay.
Yeah.
He took that pendant to the cult leader. So now the cult leader has both pendants and Anders on her side. Because, of course, the DOD was basically saying, support Superman. We've had a good relationship with Superman for years, and you fucked it up. And he still thinks that Superman is public enemy number one for some reason. And he's freaking a New Age Nazi. What do you know? But he's working with the cult leader now. Now, the boys are in trouble because they found out that Jonathan was huffing X-Kryptonite.
Yeah, and even worse, so that happened. The school had a bunch of cops show up, like with drug sniffing dogs, and Jonathan's girlfriend had a bag full of these inhalers, these X-Kryptonite inhalers, and she's like, I can't get in trouble with these. I can't
get caught with all these. And Jonathan's like, me. I won't be in. They won't check me. I'm the good kid, and even if I do, it won't be no big deal.
Yeah.
And it was a big deal.
Immediately gets caught. As soon as he grabs the bag and takes it from her, the dogs go on him. You know, they hit on him, and
he gets accused of being a drug dealer because he has so much. Even though 100% technically, they're not illegal drugs because it's not a
Yeah.
controlled substance yet.
Yeah, it hasn't yet been identified as an illegal drug. The law
Right.
hasn't been able to work fast
So
enough to
although
pass
it's
a law to
immoral,
legalize it.
to use, it is not technically illegal. So, but Jonathan's in trouble. Jordan's in trouble for not telling the parents that he found out. Um, Although, in Jordan's defense, he was telling Jonathan he had to quit and stuff. He was just keeping his brother's secret. And in that family, keeping each other's secrets is kind of second nature. Uh,
Yeah.
I mean, when you're in Superman's family, what do you do? Um, uh, Jordan's girlfriend is agonizing over wanting to see and talk to her father and not wanting to show that she approves of what he did. And she ends up, I mean, she can't talk to Jordan about it because Jordan wouldn't understand. He's got the perfect family as far as she's concerned. And she can't really talk to her mom about it because mom's too intricately involved. But mom gives her the advice of talking to a good friend. And so she calls her friend, which happens to be the girl she slept with at summer camp.
Yep.
And the one that almost broke her and Jordan up. But she drives all the way down there and she gets some advice. And the girl basically says, look, he's your father. If you want to see him, see him. It doesn't mean that you're betraying your mother or anything else. It just means you want to see your father. He's your father. You should be able to do it. And I found, and so she goes to your father, and we pretty much don't get any real details on that because the end mostly the episode ends at that point. But the big
Yeah,
gist
she goes
is
she goes
Superman
to
is
talk to
free.
him and then tells him that she wants to talk and or whatever, and he's very happy that she wants to talk, and it kind of just cuts there.
Yeah. Now, as far as the end of the episode, Superman has to burn the kryptonite bullets out of Morgan Edge before they kill him. And then fly him up as close to the sun as possible so it can fast absorb yellow sun energy to heal because he wasn't healing because he'd been stuck in that prison for so long. He had not stored up enough internal energy to heal as fast.
Yeah.
So Superman flew him up like right next to the sun and then flew him down back to the cage and locked him back up because he still couldn't condone having him free. And he told Morgan that. He says, you knew I couldn't let you be free. But now Superman's free again. And he's back with the family.
Yeah. But
And
then he
he's
also kind of
pissed
left
at
off of
Jonathan too.
yeah. But he did give him some kind of like classic Superman treatment there at that point, where he's like, tell your son I'm sorry. And he's like, maybe one day you can tell him yourself.
Yeah. So there's
Implying
hope.
that eventually one day maybe he can earn this trust enough to be around his family again, which is kind of a big deal.
Well, he did risk his life to save his brother.
Yeah. Yeah, he literally jumped in front of
Kryptonite
kryptonite
bullet.
bullets, speeding kryptonite bullets to save Kal-El. So that goes a long way in getting someone to start trusting you a little bit.
Especially in Clark's eyes.
Overall, pretty good episode.
Yeah.
Fucking Andrews though, Jesus, like that
Anders
dude
is becoming a major prick.
yeah, delusions of grandeur and insanity.
I'm still waiting till Jordan's girlfriend finds out that he's super. Because she's going to find out. Maybe not this season, but she's going to find out.
Yeah. I
Um,
feel like she needs to.
unlike Lana, who never found out Clark's secret in this iteration, at least.
Yeah, in this iteration, Lana still
In
doesn't
other
know.
iterations, she has, like in Smallville, but in this
Yeah.
iteration, she has not.
Well, in
But her
Smallville, I don't think
daughter
it
is
happened
going to
until
figure
like
out.
season 5.
Yeah, it took a while. Chloe figured out a lot sooner than Lana did.
Well, Chloe
But
didn't figure it out. Someone showed Chloe.
yeah,
A girl with teleporting powers
right. That's
um,
right.
faked her life being at risk from a car wreck, and then used teleportation trickery to cause Chloe to see Clark catch a car in midair.
Right.
But then she pretended to not know because she wanted Clark to come out to her himself and tell her his secret when he's ready. But she was being very supportive secretly of his work.
Right.
For it was interesting to see.
Yeah.
I weird how I remember that much about that show, and it had been so many years since I watched it.
I rewatched it since you rewatched it. I mean,
Yeah.
I rewatched it just a couple of months ago, maybe
Oh wow.
4 months ago. You know,
I
so
haven't rewatched it since before I lived in this house, and I've lived in this house for 8 years. Oh,
yeah.
nine
No,
years.
I
I'm
rewatched.
almost 9 years.
I rewatched all of Smallville like 4 months ago. Um, I do a lot, but then I'm disabled, and all I have to do all day long is watch TV shows. I'm rewatching Sanctuary now, an old
Yeah.
sci-fi series with Amanda Tapping.
Mm.
I might even throw that on as a flashback at some point. It's on Plex, which is free to watch. Um, anyway, so that's Superman and Lois. Now the Flash, and this is a very differently focused Flash episode because it focused on the Flash, the next generation, the kids from the future. Um, okay, they go back to their time because when we last saw them, they were in our time period and they just left their parents to go back to their own time. Well, in the beginning of this episode, they get back to their own time and they find a bunch of shit's changed. And they're like, wait a minute, what's up with this? And
Yeah.
so they have to go back in time again to try
The
to
key
set.
thing is they find out that their aunt never existed in this new timeline.
Right.
Like their aunt wasn't even born or something like that. I don't
Right.
know. I don't remember what it was. Or that she
That
never.
that
Yeah,
that
I think
Jay
that's all it
Garrett
was. That she doesn't exist.
that Jay had never gotten with her or whatever.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, that Jay had gotten with somebody else. Uh, but anyway, so they go back in time, basically to the time period when Barry is unconscious after being struck by lightning for much of the time period they're in. So they masquerade as forensic interns. And so we get to see Eddie Thawne, which is nice because he was a character a lot of people liked.
He
And
died in the first season. He's been gone for a while.
yeah, but they brought back Eddie Thawne, um, and they brought back yet again the damn freaking Flush Gang, Royal Flush Gang, a different iteration of the Royal Flush Gang. Okay, and
I
I
think
agree with one of the
I,
internet speakers that
I think
said,
I think it's the same iteration of the Royal Flush Gang that we saw the last time we saw them. Only they're younger now because it's like 7 years sooner.
well, didn't they have Cisco in it?
No, that wasn't Cisco. That was
He just
an
looked a lot
entirely
like
different.
Cisco.
Yeah, yeah. For a few seconds, I thought it was Cisco, but it's not. It's just a
Ah,
guy who looks similar to him with sunglasses. As soon as he took off the sunglasses, I was like, "Oh no, that's not Cisco."
I never did make that revelation. Anyway, they bring back the Royal Flush Gang, and I have to agree with another reviewer on another site, Pagey, who does a lot of the DC reviews. In that the Royal Flush Gang is probably one of the least interesting Flash villain groups out, and they keep using them. Almost nobody really likes them, but they keep bringing them back. This is like the third time they've used them in the Flash series, and there are other villain groups and stuff that you could use.
I think it's the second time this season alone.
Yeah, it's just too much freaking... Yeah, because they were in the Armageddon. Too. So, yeah, the Royal Flush Gang, to me, are just thugs. They're not... Yeah, I mean, yeah, having one psychic in the group makes them mildly more interesting. But for the rest of it, they're thugs. And too easy for the Flash to beat because of it. There are so many other groups that they could bring in that would be more interesting, and so that was a disappointing part of the episode, was having to deal with the Royal Flush Gang yet again. But in this case, we kind of saw the an origin of the Royal Flush Gang. When they first got together, they were first brought together by the Queen. And so that was something, at least. We got to see a lot of Bart's insecurities in this episode, and how he basically puts his sister up on a pedestal as like she's perfect, she never does anything wrong, kind of thing. And even she has to say, no, I do shit wrong, trust me. And Jay has to say, oh no, your sister's done shit wrong. And not only that, you worrying about breaking the...
Jay's like, your father made plenty of...
I was going to say, yeah. You want to talk about breaking the rules of time? You think your dad would be... You know how many freaking things he's broke? How many times he's broken the timeline?
The reason your dad has these rules is because the messes he made when he broke them.
That's right. Rules don't appear out of a vacuum, The rules are come by because somebody screwed something up and they says, oh, let's not do that again.
Yep.
And so Bart got to learn that, hey, he's not the only fuck up in his family.
Yeah.
Jay's like, I've screwed up the timeline. You wouldn't be a speedster if you didn't screw up the timeline at least once.
We had like 2 whole seasons based on Barry's repercussions of a screw up.
Right? You would not be a speedster if you didn't screw up the timeline at least once. That's your coming of age thing, man. You don't really come into your speedster powers till you fuck up somebody's timeline. So Bart is learning some of the realities of being a speedster. Was the big gist of this. Now, that was really a lot of the show in a nutshell this week. Now, good things are supposed to be coming from the show. Robbie Amnell is supposed to be back as Robbie Raymond at some point for the show. I know that at least 3 to 4 episodes this year will not have Grant Gustin at all in them.
Really?
It's actually in his contract that he can have 3 or 4 episodes off.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I mean, he was practically off for this episode. I think most of the footage
showed up
they
for
used in the beginning scene was like mostly felt like it was.
I think it was all archive footage. Yeah.
And then
I think this may count as one of them.
Then they had him in a bed. They had him in a bed, laying in bed for a scene.
And they could have mocked that up. Uh,
Yeah.
so this might have counted as one of the ones that is not his episode. Uh, the only reason he's not signing multi-year contracts right now is, as far as Grant Gustin's concerned at this point, he's willing to keep playing the character, but that doesn't mean in the future he will be, and that's why he's only signing 1 year at a time now. Uh,
Also, that means he can. It's easier for him to negotiate a higher rate every year too.
yes, that too.
I know that the showrunner said something to the effect of, "We'll keep making the show as long as Grant Gustin is willing to keep making the show."
As long as the ratings will keep it going too. But the ratings on this show has always been one of the highest of the CW verse. And although we're getting ready to go into what is this, season 9? Or is this season 10?
Oh, I thought it was season 8, but it might be 9.
For
Yeah.
because typically speaking, most TV shows don't go past the season 10 with a few exceptions, like Supernatural.
Yeah.
And they even point that out a lot in a few other online sources have talked about the fact that with very few exceptions, they usually will not greenlight a show past season 10 because they figure that a show is played out by its 10th season, that its audience is pretty much not going to stay around much longer. But The Flash is still going strong. I mean, it's had its ups and downs, but it's still going strong. So
it's currently season 8 is what we're in the middle of now.
So we got a couple more seasons before they're in the notorious cancellation season, which is season 10.
Yeah.
Usually, if it makes it to season 10, it rarely makes it past that. But as Supernatural proved, that's not always true. Shoot, MASH went 11 seasons. You know, and it was MASH in the 1970s. It made 11 seasons. You know, but very rarely does anything make it past 10 seasons. Star Trek, Next Generation, and Star Trek Voyager only made 7 seasons. And they were hugely popular. But they had spin-offs to continue them. What did we have? 9 seasons, I think, of Big Bang Theory? 8 or 9?
Big Bang? I think Big Bang had 12.
Did they have 12? Were they one of the ones that broke it?
Yeah.
But I don't even think Jerry Seinfeld broke 10. And that was one of the most popular shows ever. Cheers, I don't think, broke 10.
Yeah, but Seinfeld didn't end because of ratings or whatever.
Oh no, they often end because Seinfeld wanted to end it.
Because Jerry Seinfeld wanted to stop doing it.
Well, that's how a lot of times they end. It isn't necessarily because of ratings. It's because the actor, the main actor, wants to move on. In fact, the only shows that usually make it past 10 seasons are like talk/variety shows like Saturday Night Live and stuff.
Yeah, Seinfeld had 9. Seinfeld had 9 seasons. Big Bang had 12 seasons.
I mean, Smallville
was 10 seasons.
Special Victims Unit might be in like 12 seasons or something right now.
Oh, jeez. SVU?
That's the longest running Law and Order. They might be at 10 or 12 seasons or some 12 or more.
Season 23.
Of SVU?
Yeah.
Oh my fucking God.
The longest running Law and Order franchise.
That's the longest running like non-talk show /variety show, I think. I mean, well, no, because The Simpsons has got more seasons.
Yeah, Simpsons has, I think, 31 seasons now.
Yeah, The Simpsons is like the longest running show,
But it's
like,
also
period.
animated, and it's a little easier for an animated show to keep going, you know?
Yeah, it is.
Dun
Um,
dun.
but anyway, we digress. What time is it? It
Law and
is.
Order.
It's after 10.
Law and Order SVU has 23 seasons, and NCIS has 19.
And NCIS has 19.
That shit's been going on forever.
They've been going.
What has 19?
NCIS,
Oh, NCIS? Yeah.
Naval Criminal Investigative Services. And then, yeah, but shoot, look up Simpsons. You really want to be.
I know Simpsons.
Oh, yeah, no, I know Simpsons. Simpsons is at least 31.
It's got to be approaching 30 because it was one we were.
It's over like 31, I think. It's
I
like
think actually, yeah. It might be.
31, 32, something like that. The only thing that's got more seasons than that is something like Saturday Night Live or The Tonight Show.
Saturday Night Live.
They're currently in their 33rd. Simpsons is in their 33rd season currently.
Since Simpsons are currently in their 33rd, I think Saturday Night Live is on like 48.
Let me double check.
Oh, shoot.
My
Saturday Night Live.
My production
Well, the
assistant
thing
is
about
checking out
the
right
one
now.
thing about Saturday Night Live though is it's like
It's sketch comedy.
It's
Yeah.
a rotating series. It's a rotating show. You know?
What?
47.
47 for Saturday Night Live.
It's basically
Yeah.
longer than I've been around because it came out in 75.
Yeah. Yeah, it's actually a year older than Allison is.
Actually, a bit older.
A little bit more than a year older than Allison is. Yeah, and that's the thing is like, but for the most part, most shows don't make it past 10 seasons.
If we're gonna get
Yeah.
specific, it's
We don't need to be specific.
7.5 months longer than me.
Anyway,
But yeah. So, and what do we got for time here? Is that 10:08? Hey, good timing. All right.
Yeah.
We will check to see if Superman and Lois is a rerun or not this week. It should not be a rerun of The Flash. So we will talk about The Flash next week for sure. Superman and Lois. If it's not a rerun, we'll talk about. We'll have another From the Vault. We'll have that Harry Potter State of the Game update next week from Philip.
State of Play.
State of Play. State of the Game. State of Play.
Yeah. The Hogwarts game.
Yeah. I said Harry Potter. Harry Potter is good.
Yeah.
So we'll be touching on those. Still no real solid definites about the two new CW shows kind of in the works. One is the Gotham U or whatever, and the other one is Gotham Knights. The Gotham U is the one that's head up by Diggle. And then Gotham Knights supposed to be Robin and the children of a lot of the villains of Batman coming together. They're both still not ready to come out yet, so we don't know.
Gotham Knights?
Gotham Knights. That's Robin and then the sons and daughters of a bunch of Batman's villains.
Oh, I didn't realize there was a show coming out called Gotham Knights.
Yes, there is
a
Gotham Knights
Curious.
in the works. Yeah, there's a
Yeah.
Gotham Knights in the works, and then there's I think it's called Gotham U or Superhero U or something like that.
It's curious because there's also a video game in the works called Gotham Knights.
Yeah, but there's a TV show in the CW verse that's in the works. So there's a couple of new CW shows in the works.
While Gotham Knights shares its name with the video game, the two will be vastly different. So
Yes.
okay, so the video game and the show will have nothing to do with each other.
Yeah, they're not going to be related except for the fact that they both come from the same source material, but that's about it. Um,
So, okay, in the plot reads for the show, in the wake of Bruce Wayne's murder, his rebellious son forges an unlikely alliance with the children of Batman's enemies when they are all framed for killing the Caped Crusader. And as the city's most wanted criminals, this renegade band of misfits must fight to clear their names. It continues, but in a Gotham with no Dark Knight to protect it, the city descends into the most dangerous it's ever been. However, hope comes from the most unexpected of places, as this team of mismatched fugitives will become its next generation of saviors, known as the Gotham Knights. Which that's okay. It starts off sounding like the game, but then changes very dramatically. Because in the game, if I remember right, in the game, Bruce Wayne's murdered, and the Bat family comes together. Nightwing, Robin, Red Robin, Batwoman, Batgirl, whatever. I don't remember the exact lineup, but a bunch of the Bat kids, effectively, come together and are the Gotham Knights. And I don't know much more about the story. They're not telling a whole lot, but it's being made by the same people who made, I think, Batman: Arkham Origins.
right.
Anyway, people that worked on the
So,
Arkham games.
and then I'm
So,
not sure what all is coming out as far as movies are concerned, but I know that in the works we got Morbius coming out.
yeah,
Um,
it's next month in April.
we've got Morbius coming out in April. We've got Into the
Moon Knight
Multiverse of
coming out
Magic.
at the end of this month.
Into the Multiverse of Magic in May.
Madness.
We have Multiverse of Madness in May. We've got Moon Knight at the end of March. We've got Miss Marvel.
June.
June.
Curiously, that premieres the same day we're supposed to also get a new episode of Obi-Wan Kenobi.
Mm.
Now, I have a question for you. I know you said you're not real big into the live-action shows of Star Wars, and Boba Fett, Mandalorian, but are you going to watch the Obi-Wan Kenobi series?
I
Is that
don't
going to be
know.
different for that?
I'm pretty
Because
much sticking to just the movies on Star Wars.
it's Jedi's and Inquisitors and Darth Vader.
I might. I don't know.
Like
Like I said, The Mandalorian, I watched the first season, and the second season just lost me completely. I was like, nah, it's boring. And so I stopped watching it. And I can be fickle sometimes.
yeah,
It's kind of strange
but
some of the
your
things
mood
I
might
like.
change when you see Hayden Christensen show up as Darth Vader and
Are they bringing Hayden Christensen back?
yes,
It'd be good for his career.
yeah. So he's coming back as Darth Vader, and we got the what was his name? Ewan McGregor is reprising his role as Obi-Wan Kenobi.
Hey,
And in the part of the trailer, it shows, like, I don't know if you've seen the latest trailer, but part of the trailer shows Obi-Wan Kenobi in the desert in Tatooine, looking through binoculars, seeing a little kid, Luke Skywalker, sitting on top of, like, the roof of the little hut that he lives in there at that, moisture farm. And he looks like he's simulating pod racing. And then there's like Inquisitors that I recognize from like the Clone Wars and shit that are showing up on Tatooine or some other desert planet looking for somebody. Looking for Jedi. They're out looking for Jedi because they've been ordered to track down all the Jedi that have gone missing. And I'm really excited to see like the Grand Inquisitor from Rebels is in this, and it's got the music, like it had the music from Duel of the Fates, which was, unless I'm mistaken, that was the music from episode 1 of when he fought Darth Maul, when Obi-Wan fought Darth Maul. So I'm hoping that means Darth Maul shows up in this.
wow. Yeah,
Man,
I don't
the
know.
doctors cleared me of pneumonia, but I still have a cough.
Yeah, I don't know. We'll see. I mean, when I'm looking for something to watch, you never know. I'm rewatching Next Generation Star Trek again. So I'm watching Sanctuary and Next Generation Star Trek, just to name a couple of
So,
shows I'm rewatching. Now that I've finished rewatching Sliders, um, I'm still watching
yeah.
Severance.
It's the Sith and the Jedi that get me the most excited when it comes to Star Wars content. So I enjoyed Mandalorian, I enjoyed Boba Fett, but of all of it, I'm the most stoked to see the Obi-Wan
Mm.
and get into the Jedi shit
We'll,
again,
we'll,
the
we'll
Jedi and
see.
Sith again. Huh?
We'll see. I might give it a try. I might not. You never
Yeah.
know. And it just partly depends on what my mood is on a given day too. What I'm going to watch. Sometimes in the mood with something more like I want to watch a movie. Sometimes I go looking for a TV show and I want a comedy. Like I started watching King of Queens again. Um, thought about watching Everybody Loves Raymond. I'm rewatching Big Bang Theory. Uh,
So Obi-Wan starts May 25th, so we got a couple of
we'll,
months.
we'll see.
But
But we will catch everybody here next week, 8 p.m. Central Standard Time. If you look up Gamer Seuss on YouTube, you'll find all past broadcasts of Game Time in the Game Time playlist there. So give it a watch, give it a like, give it a subscribe. Everything you do over on YouTube there will help get the word out. If you come in here and you subscribe to the channel, as I'd said earlier in the show, half of all the proceeds I get when I do actually get payouts to this channel, as infrequently as they come, go to Extra Life, which is part of the Children's Miracle Network, which is to promote help and care for kids with long-term medical conditions like cerebral palsy, cancer, end-stage renal disease, and various other conditions out there. And especially with COVID, a lot of them were hospital bound and also limited on visitors. So they had to spend large periods of a very scary time with no family and friends around. They try to make their lives a little bit easier. They do things like get in and work with Make-A-Wish Foundation and getting video games and stuff for the hospital bound kids to play, board games, card games, video games. In fact, that's how Extra Life got started. Was, a kid that was hospital bound and all he really wanted was some video games to play, and they ended up get a DJ, got him a whole bunch of video games and stuff, and then it grew into what Extra Life is today. It's gamers and nerds basically giving back and supporting other gamers and nerds that are maybe not quite as mobile or not quite as capable physically to do the things that other people take for granted, like, walk to the park or going over to a friend's house and popping in a video game cartridge. So if you can give back through Extra Life, you can type exclamation Extra Life in channel, and the bot will give you a link to my Extra Life donation page. Or you can subscribe to this channel or give bits to this channel, as I said, and half of all proceeds go to that, and the other half goes to operating expenses for the channel. That's like paying the registration for my software in order to stream, paying for new equipment when I need it, things of that nature. Even though actually the lion's share of that's come out of my pocket, I haven't really taken anything out of the business account for that at all. Everything has pretty much gone to Extra Life or sat in the account in case it is needed. So we'll catch everybody next week. As always, may your rolls be epic. May your fumbles be even funnier. And remember, use that finishing move. It's worth it. Have a good day.
Peace out, guys. Bye.